Okay, so 19.3. I'm going to focus on RX here, just because I've got some remote clients that are definitely going to be hitting this RX version. The scaled is a very, very different style of workout, but I think the warm-ups we're going to talk about a little bit later on are going to cover both the RX and both the scaled. So first things first, I'm really happy that there's a gymnastics density and gymnastics complexity test here. The first one was an aerobic system test, 19.1. 19.2 is more how quick you can cycle a big barbell, and both of those workouts were skewed to bigger, heavier athletes. And both of those workouts, you could kind of get away with the kind of ugly movements. You didn't need much finesse, and you didn't need to move particularly well, and you didn't have to have great mobility to get good in those scores. 19.3 is a completely different animal, and all that will do is it will kind of start pulling the leaderboard apart and start pulling the athletes that tend to, so it will start to put the more balanced athletes and the people that are the most athletic up to the top, and the people that are skewed one way or the other, they'll start falling down the leaderboard. And that's exactly what you want to see in the CrossFit Open. It gives you some clear goals of what to work on next year based on the things you're good at this year and based on the things that you're not so good at. So 19.3 is 200-foot dumbbell overhead lunge. Let's just break this down step by step. So that overhead lunge, the crucial thing here is to keep a straight arm. If you can keep a straight arm overhead, then you're going to have less fatigue through the tricep, bicep, and shoulder. You really want that weight to be going through the joint and the skeletal system. If you're an athlete that does not move well and has not got a good overhead position, then I would probably prioritize mobilizing and trying to get into a good overhead position, or as best as can be. So foam roll your lats, get the lacrosse ball, spend some time on the scap, subscap, even work on the triceps if you need to try and just get yourself where you can hold a weight and you can load it with a straight arm. If you can't move well in an overhead position, then you already know that by now, and maybe it's just a bit of a self-reflection to say, actually, I do need to spend some time investing into prehab and mobility before my training sessions, as it does really help in not just the CrossFit Open, but it helps in just long-term health as well. So if you don't move well in that overhead position, then I would personally spend a long time with mobility. Yes, it's going to pre-fatigue you out, but I think you're going to get a better score than not trying to get in a good position and spending the whole time with a bent arm overhead. If you're somebody who does move well, then I wouldn't spend as long on mobility, obviously, and I actually wouldn't spend that long pushing and pulling because you've already got quite a lot of it in the workout. A 200-foot dumbbell overhead lunge, obviously you're going to break this up, right? You're not going to do 200 foot on all the left side or all right. You're going to break it up however you see fit. That might be each time that you turn around. It might be, 10 steps. You've got to decide how you're going to break that up. Once you finish the dumbbell overhead lunges, you'll be going into 50 dumbbell step-ups, which is something that we haven't seen before. With this, again, you want to break it up. It is the only point that you're really using your legs. So if you haven't got shoulder fatigue doing this, then burn your way through the reps. If you have got shoulder fatigue, because again, you can't get in a good position where you're taking tension out the shoulders, then I would just stop and rest. A couple of ideas on this of where to hold the dumbbell. You might want to put it behind neck if you're allowed to do that, or one shoulder or the other. I haven't checked the judging standards as it's about 11 o'clock here in the States. It's only just been released, and I'm trying to talk quietly because Kat's asleep at the moment. So once you've hit those 50 dumbbell box step-ups, you're then going to 50 handstand push-ups. Now, all the clients that work with me, as we've led up to the Open, we've started taking away the movements that have already been in the Open and started focusing on the movements that we know will probably come up based on probability. Handstand push-ups are something we talked about. We knew that there wasn't really many gymnastics pieces in the first 2 weeks, I was pretty confident there's going to be something in the third week. So I believe Tuesday we did a max test of handstand push-ups, and then we took it down to 25 to 35% of your volume and repeated it over 10 sets. Some of you guys had strict, some of you guys had kipping. Use that as a benchmark on this and make sure you break it up from the beginning. If you're an athlete that doesn't work with me but tends to do classes, then I would quickly figure out, without doing too many handstand push-ups, if one, you can do them, and then secondly, how many you think you can do whilst coming back down off the wall and staying fresh. So for a lot of people, that's going to be ones, twos, triples. You're not going to find many athletes doing bigger sets than fives here. I would say even if you've got a max strict handstand push-up of 25, I would still take it down to fives. And then if you get past that, you're going on to that handstand walk, and that's just a complex skill of either you've got it or not. You know, that just takes practice and good shoulder health and good shoulder mobility and good coordination. And it's one of these movements that you're really only going to pick up at your kind of intermediate CrossFit level when you're mostly RX in classes. If you get there, then you can express that skill. I think a lot of people are going to struggle to get there. So that really takes me on to the most important thing of this workout, which is mindset. It's a 10-minute time cap. The chances of you finishing this are pretty small, and that's not a bad thing, right? Just remember, the Open's designed to find the fittest person in each country so they can qualify for the Open. It's kind of like saying, okay, we're trying to find 10K times for athletes in Great Britain to represent Great Britain in the Olympics, so everyone's going to run a 10K. But you have to run it at a certain pace for the first couple of minutes. Like, you might be able to sustain the same pace and ghost for 2 or 3 minutes, but eventually you're just going to burn out. And you should, because there's professional athletes that are moving on to this next level of competition. For most of us, we just want to test ourselves with ourselves from last year. Maybe want to have a little bit of fun on the leaderboard. And that just goes back to knowing that this is one of these workouts that just mentally know you're not going to get through. Be okay with that, and be okay with the fact that you're going to get frustrated, but you've just got to kind of, like, I would not do this to heavy music. I would not put the music up too loud. I wouldn't spend too much time getting hyped up. I'd want to go into this making sure I'm breathing well, making sure that I'm really self-aware of what's going on, and just have really good body awareness of what's going on in my upper body, because I know that's going to be the limiting factor for everyone. And that brings us to the last bit, which is just how to warm up on this. This is for both the RX and scaled. I'll jump on one of the assault bikes for a good 10 minutes. It gets blood going through the upper body as well as primarily the lower body. So I'll just spend a long time on that. If you know you're going to get into handstands, maybe spend some time inverted if you want to, and you know you're definitely going to get there. Don't spend too much time fatiguing that push-pull. And like I've already talked about, only spend time doing a shed load of mobility if you move poorly and you need to find a way to quick fix that and put a band-aid over that issue going into the workout. If you move well and just from a seated position without warming up whatsoever, you can already get into an overhead lunge, then I wouldn't spend too much time on that mobility. You've got to have good hip mobility, good T-spine mobility, good shoulder mobility to really excel in this. And you're going to know that before walking in, right? You're going to know if these movements are going to feel intimidating for you and not. And if they do feel intimidating for you, then prime as best you can with a lacrosse ball, with a foam roller, with bands, whatever you need to do. If they're not intimidating and you're thinking to yourself, actually, I really enjoy these movements, then cool. Just get yourself warmed up, stay cool, calm, and collected, and attack the workout. All right, guys, best of luck, and see you soon.